bracelet that we're going to make. In another color. And in a couple of other colors. And this is the double braided version, which I'll also show you how to make. And this is the double braided version in Christmas colors. So let's talk about the materials that we're going to need. For this bracelet, you're going to need super duos and 11/0 Toho seed beads. If you are going to make the double woven wave bracelet, then you're going to need twice as many of these beads, possibly super duos in an alternate color, or you could use the same color as well. You're also going to need 2 6 or 8 seed beads to feed the jump rings through for the clasp. So let's get started. Both the single wave bracelet and the double woven wave bracelet both start out the same. So I'm using a size 10 beading needle with 6-pound fire line. I've got about 3 meters of it. And we'll make the single wave bracelet first, then I'll show you how to connect the second strand for the double braided wave bracelet. So we're going to start here with a 6 or 8 seed bead, a super duo, and 2 11/0 seed beads. And I'll string that on. I'll go back up through those beads to form a loop. And here's where I can tie a knot. I'll continue through the large seed bead. I'll add 2 11/0 seed beads and go down through the other hole of the super duo. Add 2 more 11/0 seed beads and go up through the other hole. Then I'll continue through the 2 11/0 seed beads at the top. Now with the large seed bead kind of cat-a-corner at the top here and my thread at the top, I'm ready to start my first curving component. Add 2 seed beads and a super duo and go up through the tip of the other super duo. I'll continue through the last 2 seed beads along the top. Add 2 seed beads and go down the other hole of that super duo. That puts a couple seed beads on the top of it. I'll add 2 more seed beads and go up through the other hole, which will put 2 seed beads on the bottom of it, underneath it. Then I'll continue through the 2 last seed beads in the top. I've completed my first curving component. I'm going to do 2 more. I add 2 seed beads and a super duo. I go up through the tip. Continuing through the last 2 seed beads along the top. I add 2 seed beads and go down through the other side. I add 2 seed beads underneath that super duo. And continue through the last 2 seed beads. Again, I add 2 seed beads and a super duo and go up through the tip. I continue through the last 2 seed beads along the top. I add 2 seed beads on the top. And 2 seed beads underneath. Continuing through the last 2 seed beads. Now I've completed 3 curving components. So now I go through the tip, and because this is my first curve, I'm going to go through or around all of these seed beads. On this bottom row here, I'll go 2 at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. Continuing around. Through the large seed bead. And continuing. And after I've gone through my last seed bead, I go through the tip to get ready for the next curve. Before starting each curve, you want to check that your previous curve is a U and that your thread's at the top. Now we'll start curving the other way. Add 2 seed beads and a super duo and go up through the tip. Through the last 2 seed beads. Add 2 seed beads over the super duo. Add 2 seed beads under the super duo. and continue through the last 2 seed beads on the top. Again, 2 seed beads and a super duo, go up through the tip. And through the last 2 seed beads. We add 2 seed beads over the super duo. And 2 seed beads under the super duo. And continue through the last 2 seed beads. And we add 2 seed beads and a super duo. Go up through the tip. Through the last 2 seed beads. Put 2 seed beads over. Add 2 seed beads under. And through the last 2 seed beads. Okay, I have finished 3 curving components, so I'll go through the tip. And I want to continue through the next 8 seed beads down here. 1, 2. 3, 4. 5, 6. 7, 8. And as I pull that tight, that reinforces the curve. I want to go through the far tip of the 4th super duo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the far tip. Then I'll flip it back over to go continue around this side. The easiest way to know where I start is I just lay my needle between the 4th and 5th super duo, and the seed bead above the needle is where I start. I just want to continue along the side. Once I've gone through my last seed bead, I go through the tip. Now I'm ready to make my next curve. I double check that my previous curve is like a U and my thread's at the top. Add 2 seed beads and a super duo. And through the last 2 seed beads. Add 2 seed beads over the super duo, 2 seed beads under super duo, and through the last 2 seed beads. Again, 2 seed beads and a super duo up through the tip. Continue through the last 2 seed beads. Add 2 seed beads to the top. And 2 seed beads underneath. Continue through the last 2 seed beads. Again, add 2 seed beads and a super duo, and go up through the tip. Continue through the last 2 seed beads. Add 2 seed beads to the top. Two seed beads underneath. And continue through the last 2 seed beads. I have completed 3 curving components, so now I go through the tip, through the next 8 seed beads along the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Five, 6. 7, 8. I want to go through the tip, the bottom tip of the 4th super duo to cross over. Flip it over. And I continue above the needle there on this side. After I've gone through the last seed bead, I go through the tip. And I'm ready for my next curve because my previous curve is a U and my thread's at the top. So you just continue making these curves until you have the desired length of your bracelet. If you are going to make the double strand version of this, you'll want to go 1 extra curve because it will shrink up when it's braided together. But if you're just making the single wave bracelet, just continue until you have the desired length, and then I'll show you how to finish off the end. After that, I'll show you how you can start a second strand to make the double braided wave bracelet. Okay, I've just made my 13th curve, but I haven't finished going around all of the outer seed beads yet. I've just made my last 3 curving components. My bracelet is about 7 inches long with 13 curves, and that means it'll be about 7.5 with the clasp. So before going out through the outer seed beads. I want to go through the tip and add 2 11-0s and 1 6 or 8 seed bead, and go back down through the tip. Now I can go through the outer seed beads. So I want to go through 8 of these seed beads. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I'll go through the tip of the 4th super duo here. Flip it over. Lay my needle down so I know which seed bead to start with on the outer. Now here I'll continue through, keep going through the large seed bead. When I get there, and around to the next 6 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At this point, I want to turn some corners before I tie a knot. This is also what you would do if you're going to make the 2-strand braided wave bracelet. But from here, I'm going to go through to the other side. And up the next 2 seed beads. Back through. The super duo at the other hole, looping it over. I want to go through these 2 seed beads that are right next to this first super duo. And there should be 2 seed beads after that, so that's how you know which 2 seed beads to go through. And here my thread's coming out between these 2 seed beads and the rest of the seed beads. So here, if I want to end the bracelet here, here's where I tie a knot. If I were to want to make the 2-strand bracelet, this is where I would start the 2nd strand. But for this bracelet, I'm just going to tie a knot here and make this a single strand bracelet. Stay tuned and I'll show you with another bracelet how to start the 2nd strand if you want to make a 2-strand woven wave bracelet. So for now I'm going to tie a knot by slipping my needle under the thread between those seed beads. And I go through the loop once, through the loop twice, and pull. All right, so I just need to snip the ends and add the clasp with the jump rings. I have snipped both ends of the thread, and now I can just take my jump ring and open it, feed it through the large seed bead, add the clasp, and close it. The other side just needs a jump ring, so I just open that, feed it through the large seed bead, and close it. And now we have a working clasp. And that is our finished bracelet. This one I'm going to make into a double wave bracelet. I'm making it the same as the single wave bracelet, except for that I'm going one extra curve past my desired length, because when you weave it, the second part together, it shrinks up a little bit. So I've almost finished this last wave. I've put my 3 curving components on, and since this is the last one, I'm going to add my 6 or 8 seed bead. First, I'm going to go through the tip, then I'm going to add 2 11-ohs and a 6 or 8 seed bead, and I'm going to go back down through the tip. And here's where I'm going to go through 8 seed beads starting from here. And I'll go through the bottom end of the 4th super duo to cross over. Flip this back over. Lay my needle between the 4th and 5th, so I know I start on this seed bead and continue all the way around through the large seed bead. I'm going to continue around the next 6 seed beads. And I'm going to cross back over through that end of the 2nd super duo from the end. I will go back through 2 of the seed beads on that side of that super duo that I just crossed over on. Then I'll cross back over through the other hole of that same super duo. And I'll go back up 2 of the seed beads so that basically my thread is coming out between the 2nd and 3rd seed bead here along the inner curve. Here is where I want to start my 2nd strand. Here I start with a seed bead and a super duo of my 2nd color. And I'm going to go back through the same direction, those 2 seed beads. I'll continue through the next seed bead alongside the new super duo. I'll add 2 seed beads above the new super duo. And underneath I only add 1 super duo, and I want to go through this seed bead right here as the second super duo. So that's the 5th seed bead down from the inner curve. I'll go back up through the other side of that super duo and through the last 2 seed beads. From here, I'm only going to make 2 curving components instead of 3. So I add 2 seed beads and a super duo, and I go up through the tip. And through the last 2 seed beads. I'll add 2 seed beads over the super duo and 2 seed beads under the super duo. And through the last 2 seed beads. Again, I put 2 seed beads and a super duo, and I go up through the tip. And through the last 2 seed beads. I'll add 2 seed beads over that super duo. And 2 seed beads under that super duo. And through the last 2 seed beads. Here is where I wanted to kind of go around. So I'll go through the tip. And through the next 5 seed beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll want to continue through the next 3 seed beads along the inner curve of the other strand. And around the edge here. I'm going to flip it over to continue around the edge. And like before, I'm going to go through the tip to get ready for my next curve. My next curve and all the ones after that are going to be just like the normal 3-segment curve that like we did on the other strand. Except for the very last curve. The very last curve is also only going to have 2 curving components like this one did. And then I'll show you how to attach it at the other end. But for right now, I'm just going to do a normal curve just to remind you how that goes. After I have completed 3 curving components, I go through the tip, through 8 seed beads along this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Crossover on the bottom hole of the 4th superduo. And I flip it over. And I start on this side with this seed bead. Continuing around. And through the tip. Ready for my next curve, because the previous curve is a U and my thread's at the top. So I'll just continue this until I'm on my last curve, and I'll show you how to finish it off. You don't need to weave it together until that point. So you just continue making this independently, and you weave it together with the other one, the other strand, at the end. So I'll continue this until I'm just before my last curve. While stitching my second strand, I ran out of thread. So I'm going to teach you how to reconnect a new thread. Just take the end of a new thread and tie a square knot. Once I've done that, I take a lighter and touch both ends. That creates a little ball on the end of each thread, and so now I can pull it tight. Now there's a knot connecting the 2 threads that's small enough to go into all the seed beads. So I'll continue with my second strand. Okay, I've continued my second strand, and I'm ready to make my last curve. Last curve only uses 2 curving components. So I'll start by adding 2 seed beads and a superduo and going up through the tip. Continue through the last 2 seed beads. Add 2 seed beads. Go through the tip. Add 2 seed beads. They go under. down through the last 2 seed beads on the top. Again, we had 2 seed beads and a super duo. Go up through the tip. Continue through the last 2 seed beads. Add 2 seed beads. Go over. Now the 2 seed beads, one of the 2 seed beads under here shares with the first strand. So this is going to be the first point of connection to the first strand. So before I do that, I need to go ahead and weave them together. So I just kind of twist them. Okay, so I have things kind of woven together, and I'll be ready to connect to the first strand. So basically I want to count down to the 5th seed bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go down or right to left through that seed bead. Then I'll add 1 seed bead and go up through the other hole. Then I can continue through the last 2 seed beads on this side. Next, I add 1 seed bead, and I want to go through the 3rd and 4th seed bead. So 1, 2, and then 3rd and 4th from the first strand. Pull that tight. I'm going to go back up through that tip. Through that seed bead I added. And down through the next 3 seed beads. I've got 1, 2, and going through the 3rd one. Now I want to continue through these seed beads on the inner row here. To do that, I'm going to just put my needle to the other side so that I can flip this over and get to these seed beads a little easier. So I want to continue through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, or 5, excuse me. 1, 2, 3. And then 4, 5. And here is where I can cross through the tip of the third superduo in that strand. And continue through the outer edge of seed beads. Continuing up. And here you can continue to weave through the piece a little bit before tying a knot. So I'm going to just continue through these seed beads. And try to turn some corners. Cross over here. Turn some corners, go back up these seed beads. Okay, I've turned enough corners here. If it gets twisted around, just kind of twist it around to where it's straight. And here is where you can tie a knot, since I'm back at where my thread started. Now we just need to snip the ends and add the clasp. I've snipped both ends, and so now I can add the clasp. So I just open my jump ring, feed it through, the large seed bead, I add the clasp and close it. Then the other side just needs a jump ring. And now you have a working clasp. And that is your finished bracelet, the double wave braided bracelet.